Hi everybody, Nadine and Trisha, Two Square Girls. Today we're in Brimfield, Mass for the Brimfield Flea Market. We have a special guest, Ryan Servant. He actually created an app for users to come down here to the Brimfield Fair and find their way around. So we're going to do a quick interview with Ryan and try to get some more information about this whole huge fair that's going on. So Ryan, thank you so much.
No
Appreciate
problem.
your time.
Thank you for coming.
So Ryan does the Brimfield Flea Finder, and it's an app, and I'm just going to let you take it away and give a little bit of information about the whole Brimfield Flea Market.
So Brimfield's been around a long time, since 1957. So it's got a pretty long legacy. It started off with one field, and now it's 21 fields. And what you'll find is that every field has all sorts of different types of dealers. So there's not one field that has furniture or one field that has jewelry. It's all kind of spread out like crazy. And it's kind of like a fun adventure where you go around and you actually try to find what you're looking for, you explore, you dig through boxes. And what started first was people would actually wear the cardboard signs. I'm looking for phonographs, or I'm looking for records. And you would hope to meet up with someone who said, hey, I know a guy who has records, and it would be all word of mouth.
Right.
And so because of that, I waited for years and years and years to see if someone else was going to make the app. And we decided to try to bring that into the technology where you could say what you're looking for, and GPS would bring you right to a dealer, just because Brimfield is huge. You know, you can do it in a day, but you're going to be tired at the end of the day for sure. Okay. It's best to do 2, maybe even 3 days if you're really going to do some serious shopping.
Because this flea market's huge. Can you see one end of the strip to the other end?
Only because Route 20 is very straight. It's about a mile long and about a half a mile deep with most of the fields. So if you have your Fitbit on and you're tracking how much you're walking, you're getting some good exercise.
Yeah.
Especially when a September show is usually a little bit colder, it's really hot. So you really need to be aggressively wanting to shop if you're out here and it's 9 degrees outside.
Right. So with 21 fields now, about how big is each field? I mean, you can fit how many vendors maybe in a field?
So it's a great question. I mean, it ranges for capacity. There's some fields that have 10 spots and some that have 400. So each field is set up a little bit differently. Each field is managed in a different way. They have different opening times for what day they open. They have different rules as to who can do what on the fields. But the total capacity in its heyday was around 5,000 total dealers throughout all of it.
And some fields do just parking. Is that true?
Yeah, well, the parking that you saw there's some fields that the fields are so big and they have even more space, so they actually just do parking on its own separate field. So there's a few that have parking right on the road. The only reason that they're not actually dealers is that's J&J's, which was the first field in Brimfield. They open up on the weekend, and so they just take parking all week, and then their dealers go there for the end of the show.
So how did you get involved in creating the app for the Brimfield Flea Market? Did you grow up around here?
Yeah, so my wife grew up in Holland, which is the town over, and I grew up in Sturbridge, which is just the other way. And I grew up, cooking native corn on the cob at the Brimfield barn, and Caitlin was scooping ice cream over at Heart of the Mart. So we always had a connection to Brimfield. When we got our first apartment in New York, we knew that we would do much better to come here and buy furniture that had survived 50 years as opposed to IKEA that would fall apart in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So even though it was a very small apartment in New York, we always had really interesting stuff. So we would come here and shop. My in-laws, about maybe 7 years ago at this point, my in-laws started actually being a dealer here at Baker Acres. So we started to get a little bit more involved, where we'd come and help them set up. And I saw this need because we'd bring friends from New York and they'd say, I don't know where I am, I'm lost, where am I, where are the bathrooms, where are the ATMs? So we started kind of doing interviews with dealers. Would this work? We started talking to people. Did you look to see if there was an app? And we waited and waited and waited, and then when we saw enough people with smartphones, either Googling things or looking at websites, we decided, let's try it.
So then you created
the app. Yeah, and we started with the basic stuff, like where's the parking, where's the ATMs, where's the bathrooms. But then we realized this need to try to connect dealers and shoppers. So the app is free, but we do charge dealers to list 5 pictures, all of their social contact information, so that you can find them when it's not during one of the flea markets. But you can also, there's categories of items. So they list the categories that they sell, and then they can enter in custom keywords. So if there's a certain furniture manufacturer that you're really looking for and you enter it in, you might get a direct hit where someone says they have that brand chair, and then GPS will brings you right to that dealer. And then
So when you say GPS, you mean like their Google Maps? So all they
so
need to do
within the
is-
app, yeah, you'll see a blue dot and you see a red dot on where the dealer is, and then you walk.
And
right
you
to the
literally
dealer.
walk and it brings you, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
So we've
cool.
got a few hundred dealers in the app now, and there's thousands of dealers. But the dealers we have tend to be the ones that are cutting edge and have the really great stuff. We love our dealers. They're just great dealers. And we end up being kind of like we're one of the few people who just speak for Brimfield as a whole, because we have dealers in every field. So we end up being a sounding board and a bit of an information center. So people come to us and say, I'm looking for a dealer with mid-century. We end up suggesting dealers who are in the app. So we've definitely been able to help our dealers grow their business just because we're here, just because we have the app.
And it's free.
The app is free to download. Yep, we're over 8,000 downloads now. This is our 6th show. Now that we're affiliated with Brimfield.com, which is kind of the main website for Brimfield, we've seen that downloads go up quite a bit. Brimfield.com is a great resource for just the generic information about Brimfield, especially to plan for your trip too, where the bed and breakfast is and that kind of thing. And then once you're here, you want the app because that's up to date. That's the stuff that's up to the minute live. So it's almost like Brimfield.com hands over the customers to me, and we help them for free on their phone.
How do you go about updating vendor information?
It's a good
on
question.
your
So
app?
the dealers can do it themselves. So the dealers have a sign-in, and they can change their site numbers, their pictures, their categories. But oftentimes we'll even do it for them. So they'll say, can you come to my booth and take a picture? Or they'll send me a text message. We normally have a base of operation like our camper here where we can actually set up and do the work.
So this is really up to the date, up to the minute, updated information because they're going on and doing it themselves. That's
Yeah,
a
there's
great thing.
dealer directories on websites, and the problem is that there's nothing to motivate the dealers to delete their listing or to update it. There's dealers that are dead, frankly, and there's dealers who have moved to 4 different sites, so they're listed 4 different times on the website, so you don't know which one's which. Some of the websites even have, some of the websites that aren't affiliated with Brimfield have restaurants that have been closed for 15 years and stuff. So Brimfield.com is the latest, and then we wanted to make sure that our information was up to date, and that's why we charge a very small fee to the dealers, because then they're motivated
Motivates
to
them
change,
to update.
because they see that as an ad choice. And there's even dealers who will go to multiple fields in 1 week, so they'll start at Heart of the Mart and end up at Maze, and so they can actually go in and change their field number and site number, and the GPS will change with them when they change their location as well.
Now we see a lot of food. There's a lot of food here. There's like a food court over there and a couple other places. Now, does the app in any way tell you what the better places are to eat, or you don't want to put anyone else
I'm
down?
pretty neutral
but
when it comes
yes.
to food. The great thing about Brimfield
Or at least
is
where to go.
Yeah, and I usually tell them in person. But we've got, I believe, every single food vendor in there as a service to the shoppers. And so you can click on that. You see some photos. Some of them have menus, and again, the GPS will bring you right there.
That's great.
I've got my favorites. The food has evolved quite a bit in Brimfield because it used to just be, hot dogs and Pilgrim sandwich, which is amazing. But now there's actually great gourmet food trucks coming here. So just coming here to eat is actually
Because
an
food
adventure in
trucks
its
are
own.
so popular right now. I mean, they're awesome.
The two newest food vendors, I will throw a couple names out there, just because I am biased. There's two newest ones. There's a fish taco truck and there's a grilled cheese truck. They're really, really young. They just bought their food trucks. They've been around, and the food is amazing. So what they're doing with simple ingredients that are fresh ingredients is really exciting, especially for someone like me who's here all week.
Yep.
You get sick of certain foods,
Right.
so it's nice to be able to go to new stuff.
Right.
How about just moving on to like pets? Do you ever see like a lot of dogs walking around here? Do people bring their dogs?
For sure,
or-
we've seen some unique ones. I've seen people with snakes and birds and rabbits, lots of random stuff. But dogs generally are accepted here. It's up to the field. It's best to probably go to the field's website or ask someone at the entrance if dogs are allowed. Most fields will be dog friendly, and some dealers have bowls of water out. But if you can, it's probably best to leave your dog at home, only because it gets hot
Very
out here.
crowded, too.
It's crowded. There's cars, so if possible, it's probably easier for everyone.
Right.
Is it difficult there's a lot of dirt roads for a wheelchair, or is it?
It's. I'm sure there are worse areas. It is either hard packed gravel or very hard packed dirt that's been driven on for a while. I think as long as you've got some, no matter if you're in a wheelchair or walking, this takes stamina. I mean, it's a big
this
area
is
to
big.
cover. So
But
no
I've
matter who
noticed
you
it's
are.
flat.
It's very,
So
very flat.
I would
There's no
think
big
a
hills.
wheelchair
Yeah.
accessible is good.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips for our readers or any readers that might be watching
Good
this?
sneakers.
Any good sneakers?
Really, really good sneakers.
Yeah, there's a lot of walking.
Hydrate like crazy no matter what show. These past shows, even if it's 75 degrees, you're out in the sun all day. It's cheesy, but New England, you bring layers. So even if you have to carry stuff, it's good to have layers. Eat the food. Don't be shy. Bring money for food. Have a nice breakfast.
That's
have a
a
nice
good-
lunch. Take food home for dinner. It's great food here.
Good question. Do people just take cash, or are they doing the square readers for credit cards?
Yeah, they
or-
absolutely. So again, it's most of the younger dealers are kind of starting with the iPhone credit card readers.
Okay.
Cash is king, but there are certain ATMs throughout the field. There's not a ton of ATMs, but that's why we put it in the app. But cash is always.
And do you ever barter?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
you
you
have
do
to barter.
barter, yeah, 'cause it's your
Be
typical
courteous
flea
about it, but you
Right,
absolutely
okay,
barter.
right,
There's
right.
there's a game to it.
Yep.
There's strategies. Come in Tuesday and find everything, or come in on Sunday when they don't want to pack things up, right? So depending on what you're looking for, you would pick a different day to actually come and do your shopping as well.
Yeah.
Now, someone had said that it's better to come towards the end of the week because they don't want to take all this stuff home.
Yep. So if you're looking for big furniture, I totally agree with that. If you're looking for small collectible things, you like Bakelite radios, come early because that stuff's going to sell. If you need to furnish your new house because you bought a nice farmhouse, come here on the weekend because they don't want to load that heavy stuff and they're
Right.
worried it hasn't sold all week. They
Right.
really want to sell that item in the last few days. I wouldn't come on Sunday because some dealers actually will leave on Saturday because they have a long way to travel. So I think either Friday or Saturday is a good day if you're doing bigger stuff.
Today's Tuesday. This is the first day it's open, and it will run until Sunday. But like Ryan just said, don't wait till Sunday. A lot of dealers leave before that if you're looking for the big furniture item. I think that's just going to wrap it up for us today. I really appreciate
No
all
problem.
your
Thank you
help.
so much for your questions.
Get the Brimfield
Good luck
Flea
today.
Finder app, download it for free, and come down and check it out.